it's all covered in today's China Truths.
The Sino-US tariff war has had a huge impact on China. Experts predict that China's export market will be hit hard. Not only may GDP be revised down to 2%, but the unemployment rate may also rise to 11%, with the number of unemployed people possibly approaching 60 to 100 million. This would seriously impact the stability of Chinese society and could even trigger a new version of the white paper movement, thereby endangering the CCP regime. The Sino-US tariff war has escalated rapidly, with cumulative U.S. tariffs on Chinese goods reaching up to 245%, and the average tariff rate ranging from 54% to 145%. This has severely impacted the Chinese economy, especially its export-oriented manufacturing sector. China's unemployment wave may trigger a new version of the white paper movement. Central Broadcasting Station reported that Wang Jiangxi, an associate researcher at the National Security Research Institute of Taiwan's National Defense Security Research Institute, estimated that U.S.-China trade volume may shrink by 80% in the next 6 months. China's GDP could drop by 3 percentage points to just 2%, and the unemployment rate might double to 11%. This would put immense pressure on Chinese society, like a devastating disaster. Wang Jiangxi stated that this year, China's unemployment may exceed 30 million. Combined with job losses in the manufacturing and related industries caused by the trade war, the number of unemployed could reach as high as 60 to 100 million. This poses a catastrophic challenge to the CCP. Since the United States imposed a 145% tariff on Chinese goods, China's exports to the U.S. have nearly come to a halt. Corporate orders have plummeted, and the shipping industry is experiencing a wave of empty containers. The volume of container transport from China to North America has dropped sharply. Even state media has admitted that it is difficult to escape short-term pressure and economic downturn risks, especially in coastal regions heavily dependent on foreign trade. Enterprises and factories are facing shutdowns and closures, undermining overall economic confidence. Wang Jiangxi believes that the growing number of unemployed will severely challenge the stability of Chinese society. Although the CCP has taken various countermeasures and tried to shift blame to the United States through official media to ease public backlash, he warns that over time, a new white paper movement could still emerge. He added that nationalism played a key role in maintaining stability during the early stages of the COVID-19 pandemic, but by 2022, it no longer sufficed. The CCP's lockdown policies led to widespread backlash, eventually sparking the white paper movement. Whether this scenario will repeat in the context of the current trade war remains to be seen. He argued that nationalism cannot be eaten. It might temporarily unite people and help them endure hardship, but if the trade war persists, its spillover effects will increasingly affect daily life and could provoke a counter-reaction, putting even greater pressure on the CCP regime. Regarding whether the CCP can suppress resistance through stability maintenance, Wang Jiangxi noted that unrest may not always manifest through traditional forms of protest. Instead, it may surface sporadically across regions as individual acts, such as random attacks, that stir public panic, which the CCP's stability apparatus may struggle to control. He believes that the problem can only be resolved by those who created it, and that the leaders of China and the U.S. must engage in direct talks. Unfortunately, current conditions show no signs of easing in the short term. Sun Guoxiang, a professor at the Asia-Pacific Research Institute of the University of South China, generally agrees with Wang's views. However, he believes that whether another white paper movement will occur depends on other contributing factors. Sun cited an example. If a major factory collapses or lays off its entire workforce, and all workers unite in protest, such a situation could arise. If one company takes the lead, others may follow, potentially escalating into a broader movement. Chinese foreign trade companies go bankrupt and workers lose their jobs. Currently, factories and foreign trade markets across China are in decline. From children's products to shoe factories, Large numbers of orders have been canceled. Companies are clearing warehouses, selling off inventory, or directly shutting down, laying off employees, and sending workers back home. A financial service provider in Shenzhen said, "You may not believe it, but many factories in Shenzhen can no longer hold on and are closing one after another. Why? High rents, overcapacity, and a lack of foreign orders. Tariffs are rising, market competition is fierce, price wars are brutal, and profits are razor-thin. Many factories have moved to Southeast Asia, and those left behind are mostly older workers born in the 70s and 80s. Do you think Shenzhen factories still have a future?" An online blogger lamented, "It's over. Life is getting harder and harder. The U.S. has completely blocked China, and exports have no future. 99% of companies engaged in foreign trade will go bankrupt. Many workers who depend on foreign trade are now unemployed." The CCP imposed high tariffs on American goods, and American high-tech companies were not hurt, but the C919 large aircraft project, built by the CCP with the whole country's strength, was crippled. The CCP recently imposed rare earth export controls to counter the United States, but Musk's black technology, minimally invasive surgery, motor manufacturing process may cause rare earth export controls to be abandoned halfway. Huawei claimed that the 2 AI processors it launched recently used domestic chips, but a research institute disassembled them and found that they used TSMC technology, which was a slap in the face. The director of the White House National Economic Council claimed that more than 15 tariff agreements would be reached soon. In recent months, China has suspended imports of liquefied natural gas from the United States. Analysts believe that economic recession and falling demand are the main reasons. In anger, Beijing returned the domestic C919 to its original form. The Wall Street Journal quoted people familiar with the matter as saying that the Chinese authorities have told domestic airlines to suspend orders for new Boeing aircraft and obtain approval before accepting aircraft orders. Analysts said this will have an adverse impact on the local aircraft manufacturer, Comac. The report pointed out that for many years, Boeing has been the largest industrial exporter to China. According to data from the International Trade Administration, the United States exported nearly $12 billion worth of aircraft, spacecraft, and parts to China last year, while the amount of such products imported from China was almost zero. The reason why Comac's main commercial aircraft, the C919, is airworthy is also because it uses key technologies from American companies. Comac has vigorously promoted the C919 internationally, including at last year's Singapore Air Show, but no foreign deliveries have been announced. There are only about 16 C919s in commercial operation in China. Take Air China as an example. As of the end of last year, the company had 3 C919s, accounting for less than 1% of its total fleet of 930. Ronald J. Epstein, an analyst at Bank of America, said in a report that, unlike many other industries, the commercial aerospace industry does not rely on low-cost manufacturing in China, and expressed doubts about Beijing's ability to boycott Boeing for a long time. If China stops buying aircraft parts from the United States, the C919 project will stagnate or even end. Reports indicate that the Beijing authorities are pressuring domestic airlines to buy Comac aircraft, but analysts believe that such products currently do not pose much of a threat to Boeing and Airbus, although the Chinese government has required most Western technology to be transferred to domestic joint ventures since the beginning of the C919 development to prevent possible export controls in the future. Key parts, such as engines, still need to be imported. The fight is fierce. Is the CCP directly attacking the heart of the U.S. military industry? Musk's amazing innovation has broken through the siege. The Ministry of Commerce of the Communist Party of China, together with the General Administration of Customs, recently issued an announcement to implement export controls on 7 types of medium and heavy rare earth-related items, including samarium, gadolinium, terbium, dysprosium, lutetium, scandium, and yttrium. In this regard, the CCP mouthpiece Ta Kung-pao described China's precise counterattack to control rare earth exports as directly piercing the heart of the U.S. military industry. Some analysts pointed out that the CCP's export controls may stimulate the United States and its allies to advance the rare earth self-sufficiency plan faster and more forcefully, thereby weakening China's long-term dominance in the global rare earth market. At the same time, the control measures may also cause Chinese rare earth companies to lose some overseas market share, further exacerbating the industry's difficulties. On the evening of April 18th, the annual report released by the Northern Rare Earth Group showed that in 2024, the company achieved operating income of 32.966 billion yuan, a year-on-year decrease of 1.58%. Net profit attributable to the parent was 1.004 billion yuan, a sharp year-on-year decrease of 57.64%. At the same time, the situation of China Rare Earth Group is even more severe. The central enterprise previously announced that it expects a net loss of 267 million to 357 million yuan in 2024, a significant deterioration in profitability compared with the previous year. As the U.S.-China trade war intensifies, the CCP has suspended the export of rare earth minerals and magnets, severely damaging the global automotive and other industrial supply chains. However, Tesla's 2023 patent for an innovative motor design may provide a breakthrough for the United States to crack the CCP's rare earth blockade, demonstrating its resilience in technological breakthroughs. According to WCCF Tech, about 90% of the world's rare earth metals rely on the CCP's supply, and a long-term ban may lead to a break in the supply chain of European and American car manufacturers and hinder new production capacity. Faced with the CCP's resource blockade, the market's demand for alternatives has become more urgent. DGA Group partner Kui Uluo said that since the CCP imposed restrictions last week, electric vehicle companies and other industries have been competing to find alternative sources of rare earths, but there are few viable options. Faced with the CCP's resource blockade, the market's demand for alternatives has become more urgent. Against this background, WCCF Tech pointed out that Tesla's patent applied for in 2023, International Gazette number WO20240971776A1, has become the focus. The patent proposes a minimally invasive surgery motor manufacturing process that significantly reduces the amount of rare earths by drilling precision grooves 0.2 to 1.5 millimeters deep in the magnet structure and adding specific dopants while maintaining magnetic properties and simplifying the production process. WCCF Tech emphasized that Tesla's innovation not only eased the United States' dependence on the CCP's rare earths, but also injected hope into the de-risking of the supply chain. AI processors rely entirely on the United States and Taiwan, and the CCP will be strangled again. Huawei recently launched the AI processors Ascend 91B and Ascend 91C. Research Institute Semi-Analysis disassembled and found that these two AI processors use TSMC's 7-nanometer chips. Because the United States has restricted TSMC from exporting high-end chips to China, this discovery has caused an uproar in the global semiconductor industry and the United States. Huawei claims that these two AI processors are manufactured in mainland China and produced by SMIC, but in fact, the mainland's 7-nanometer technology is not mature, and most of these two processors are manufactured using TSMC's 7-nanometer chips. Regarding TSMC's 7-nanometer chips, Huawei may obtain them in two ways. One possibility is that Huawei stored these chips before the implementation of export controls. Another possibility is that Huawei obtained TSMC chips through a third party, the so-called white gloves. Many governments are actively negotiating tariffs with the United States after President Trump announced a global tariff policy. Kevin Hassett, director of the White House National Economic Council, said on Friday, April 18th, that more than 15 trade agreements will be reached soon. Hassett did not provide specific details of any deal, but said that these deals have made really significant progress. His remarks echoed the message delivered by White House spokeswoman Caroline Leavitt at a press conference on April 15. U.S.-China trade war. China suspends imports of U.S. liquefied natural gas. According to the Financial Times, there has been no other transportation between the United States and China since a 69,000-ton LNG tanker from Corpus Christi, Texas, arrived in Fujian Province on February 6. Another tanker that was originally scheduled to arrive in China was diverted to Bangladesh because the Chinese authorities imposed a 15% tariff on U.S. LNG on February 10. Since then, the tariff has increased to 49%, making U.S. natural gas no longer economical for Chinese buyers in the short term. The current ban on U.S. LNG by the Chinese authorities is similar to the more than one-year-long restriction on U.S. LNG imports during Trump's first presidency, 2017 to 2021, but now China's energy demand has declined amid a severe economic downturn. The report quoted Jillian Baccara, an analyst at international data intelligence company Kepler, as saying that she believes that trade between the two countries will not resume in the short term.
Please share your thoughts in the comments section below. We will keep reporting on the COVID surge in China, so don't forget to subscribe to our channel and turn on the notification bell to get the latest videos. And thank you for tuning in.